on with us as we have promised you. Mohan and Smita Jacob right over here with us. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you so much, Mohan. You, of course, come here before.
Several times.
And you still haven't kept your promise. आपने हमसे वादा किया था कि अभय कासलीवाल केस में आप हमें ये बताएंगे, इसका खुलासा करेंगे कि उसके पीछे कौन सा वो इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट है जिसने ये पूरी साजिश रची, और अब तक आपने उसका खुलासा नहीं किया है. हम सिर्फ याद दिला रहे हैं आपको.
हालांकि it is not Abhay Kasliwal, it is Abhishek Kasliwal.
Abhishek Kasliwal, mashallah. Abhay, I'm really sorry. All right.
But I promise you, as I told you, I will definitely do it. I'll definitely tell you.
At some point in time.
Definitely.
All right. Do you believe him? Do you believe this guy? He'll actually tell us.
A lawyer.
Right. Now, as far as Kalki is concerned, जहां तक हम लोगों की जानकारी है, कल्कि विष्णु जी का दशम अवतार है, जिसके बारे में कहा जाता है. और अगर एक वैदिक कैलकुलेशन से हम लोग जाएं, पता नहीं ठीक है कि नहीं, अथर्ववेद के अंदर जो कैलकुलेशन बनती है, तो अभी कल्कि को आने में 1.5 लाख बरस काफी बचे हैं. तो उसके बावजूद कल्कि भगवान अभी जैसे विराजमान हो गए धरती पर, वो भी हिंदुस्तान में. वो जरा बताएं. जी आप बताएं.
Actually, Bhagwan never ever said that he was a Kalki avatar. Bhagwan says every person who's come with a purpose in life is an avatar, is a Kalki avatar. Kalki always comes in an army. There are some people who come with a motive or sankalpa from an earthly consciousness, and some who come with a supreme consciousness. People who come with the earthly consciousness are like Thomas Alva Edison or Sir Newton, who come with a purpose, with a sankalpa, and they fulfill the sankalpa. For people who come with a supreme consciousness, divine consciousness, are like Shirdi Sai, Sri Satya Sai, Sri Ramana Maharshi, etc. So they come with a purpose. Yes.
So then why is it that as far as Kalki is concerned, because there was a stampede at the
right.
At the ashram recently, is that the reason why suddenly questions started to get raised, or what? What happened? Come on.
I must make certain things very clear. Both Smitaji and me, we have been in the ashram for the past, or with the university
for the
past.
We never call it the ashram, it's Oneness University.
All right, the Oneness University. It's not an ashram. All right, guys, I stand corrected. It's the Oneness University. It is not an ashram.
Right.
All right.
We are with the university for the last 12 years.
12 baras se aap.
Ji. The temple has been under construction since the time I have been there. It's now, when the opening was to take place, that this sort of an issue has come up. This issue has got nothing to do with Bhagwan and Amma. These are our revered spiritual masters, I would say our spiritual gurus. As Smitaji rightly said, Bhagwan has never said that he is Kalki or he is the avatar of Kalki. You'll ask me then why do you call him Bhagwan?
Yeah.
I presume that's an obvious question. You must understand, Bhagwan is a mode of address of reverence. It's like Swami, Guru. Because in India, we have the Guru Shishya Parampara. The Shishya calls his master in whatever names. One of the names is Bhagwan. Now, Bhagwan could not be called a Swami because Bhagwan is
He's a Grahastha, he's a married person.
Yes.
And people who have spiritual knowledge, they, with reverence, they are called as Baba or Swami or Acharyas or whatever, Sadguru.
I tell you what, why don't we take a look at him? Why don't we listen to his speech first? Let's take a look at that first. हम लोग सबसे पहले आपको दिखाना चाहेंगे, ये जनाब ने कहा कल्कि भगवान, उन्होंने खुद कभी नहीं कहा कि मैं भगवान हूँ. उन्होंने खुद कभी ये नहीं कहा कि आप मुझे भगवान की तरह पूजें, आप मेरी पूजा करें या अर्चना करें. आज तक कभी उन्होंने ऐसा नहीं कहा है. ये भी बात सामने आई है, बार बार ये कहा गया है, ये आरोप लगे हैं. और मैं चाहूंगा कि इसके पहले कि हम स्पीच दिखाएं, आप ये बताएं कि क्या कल्कि के दर्शन करने के लिए, भगवान के दर्शन करने के लिए क्या 1.25 लाख रुपए देने पड़ते हैं?
There is no 1.25 lakh rupiah.
Is there a ticket to heaven?
There is no ticket to heaven. People go there, people donate. अब आप किसी को पूछोगे, आप तिरुपति के हंडी में इतना पैसा क्यों डालते हो? Is it then a lalach to the God? Or today,
sounds like that to me.
No, right. No. With respect, I will not agree. In Shirdi, I have been the vice chairman there for the last 15 years, and the
Yeah, but
money which is put in the coffers.
but my point is over there, there's a choice there.
Yes.
जहाँ तक शिरडी का प्रश्न है या तिरुपति का प्रश्न है या बाकी जितने भी मंदिर हैं, यहाँ का बाबूलनाथ हो या दिल्ली का हनुमान मंदिर हो या गुरु शीशगंज गुरुद्वारा हो, शीशगंज गुरुद्वारा हो या बिरला मंदिर हो, वहां पर आप जाकर लक्ष्मी नारायण मंदिर हो, वहां पर आप जाकर के अपनी इच्छा से जितना भी आप देना चाहें दे सकते हैं.
बिल्कुल वही
लेकिन क्या वही यहाँ पर है?
बिल्कुल हम वही करते हैं. People give it. I must tell you that I have taken that मैं जो भी कुछ करूंगा, whatever I earn, a part of it will go to the university.
Right. So there is no compulsion that you have to give this much money to have a darshan of Kalki. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Now how this began, we'll talk about that in just a minute. But first, let's hear him.
Okay.
All right. This is Kalki Bhagwan. Let's take a look at that first. All right.
Enlightenment. How is it possible to give it in manner? Basically, it is what we call the process of Diksha. And this Diksha is some kind of electrical energy which translates into some kind of a hole in the mind of man. We believe that the mind of man is like a wall which divides man from God. The Diksha, though it is some kind of electrical energy, it does make a hole in this wall which we call the mind. Once that happens, a man and God come to relate to each other. And the way they would live depends upon his background, his conditioning, his aspirations in life, his education. So many factors are involved. And then thereafter it is God who gives enlightenment. Whether we call it God or cosmic consciousness or nature, call it what you want. So that takes over. It's been some kind of preparation for this ever since I was a child. My only concern was how to liberate man from his suffering. These were not things which I arrived at through my own life experience because I myself was a child. Rather, I was forced to be concerned about man's suffering and to work for that. That is why I am an avatar, because I never arrived at these conclusions. I was just made to do these things by a higher energy, by a higher force, which we call the divine energies of God. That's why I am an avatar. So ever since I've been a child, I've been made to do certain practices. No human made me do these things, but I was made to do this in my higher energies. So I've been doing all that for many years. I believe that different religions are required to handle the different needs of the people. I have seen people sometimes require a particular religion to handle a particular problem, or because his background needs the inputs of a particular religion. And I personally have never had any difficulty with people of any faith, because the Diksha is some kind of a neutral thing, and the Diksha only activates certain areas of the brain or deactivates, and the person discovers what his religion has taught him. So he discovers the truths of his own faith, because what I do or teach is not a new faith, is not a new religion, is not anything new at all. It merely helps you to discover what you have been seeking all these years. So I personally have no conflict with the people of any faith.
You say the mind is very ancient. What do you mean by that?
By that I imply that basically its structure has not changed. That fear is still at the core of the human mind. Earlier it could have been fear of the tiger or the lion, but today it is fear of the stock market. It could be fear of losing a job. You could have been anxious about the weather. Today you're anxious about your job and other things. And the same craving is there, the same desires are there. The object of desire has changed, but the desire to be something else is still there. So fundamentally man has not changed. That's why I call the mind very ancient. Only the objects have changed. The objects of craving, the objects of fear, the objects of anxiety, they have changed. But fundamentally it's the same old mind, living continuously in fear, continuously becoming, moving from what you are to where you want to be. It does not stay put. It is not where it should be. It's continuously moving away from where it is. and this moment is in fear. So that was basically no change in man. So I do not see any change in between the Homo sapiens and Neanderthal man. Because we have the ability to experience people who lived earlier. So we see they're fundamentally the same.